This evening, High Court orders vendors removal from outside Bank CIH despite objections. Stay tuned for the latest on this ongoing dispute. Next, a popular restaurant loses its appeal against GPL, facing over $13 million in electricity arrears. Details on this financial setback ahead. Then, the Ministry of Health explores new measures to combat dengue fever. Find out how they plan to minimize cases across the country. Also, We Lift event returns, showcasing women-owned businesses. Learn more about this empowering initiative and how it supports female entrepreneurs. And later, in international news, a billionaire tycoon in Vietnam sentenced to death for financial fraud. Details on this shocking case unfolding overseas. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for April 11, 2024. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the High Court has granted orders to remove vendors and their structures from outside Bank CIH Dengue House in Georgetown, following an action filed by Bank CIH Limited. Justice Navendra Singh issued orders directing senior city council officials to clear the area of vendors and their belongings. The court orders, sought by Bank CIH Limited through attorney Rion Miller, mandate the removal of any movable items obstructing the pavement and surroundings of Dengue House. Despite objections from vendors, the town clerk and city engineers did not contest the orders. Mayor Alfred Mentor acknowledged the challenge, but expressed the council's intention to address the vending issues with a long-term solution. Vendors, however, remain defiant, demanding alternative locations for their businesses. Bank CIH highlighted the impact of vending on its operations and financial losses. Similar orders were previously issued to Munishwars Limited, prompting the council to enforce removal notices under city government bylaws. Another legal battle making our headlines. Popular Georgetown restaurant loses appeal, order to pay over $13.7 million in electricity arrears. The owners of New Thriving Restaurant in Georgetown are facing financial woes after the Caribbean Court of Justice dismissed their appeal against Ghana Power and Light. The court upheld GPL's claim that Chi Jiangping and CEO Guang Zhao, doing business under New Thriving Restaurant and New Thriving Fast Food, owed over $13.7 million in electricity arrears accumulated from January 2002 to July 2009. The legal battle began in 2010, with the High Court ruling in favor of GPL and subsequent appeals affirming the decision. The CCJ's judgment emphasized GPL's right to recover debt beyond 12 months and dismissed the appellant's arguments regarding billing restrictions under the Electricity Sector Reform Act and regulations. The case underscores the complexities of utility billing and legal obligations, leaving the restaurant owners facing a significant financial burden. The appellants were represented by legal counsel, while GPL was represented by senior counsel Timothy Jonas and attorney Crystal Abraham. On a different note, despite its ability to control the numbers, the Ministry of Health is actively exploring further measures to minimize dengue cases in the country. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, announced plans to acquire a new vaccine covering 4 dengue types, albeit considering the high cost involved.
We have also been exploring the use or trying to get a particular vaccine now that would cover the 4 different types of dengue. Last year, the cases were quite high, but now that's more or less under control and in all the regions.
While acknowledging last year's spike in cases, Minister Anthony assured that existing methods, including vector control activities and the introduction of larvicide abate, are effective in keeping dengue rates low. Abate targets mosquito larvae in stagnant water, which is crucial during the rainy season when Aedes mosquitoes breed. The ministry also emphasizes proactive diagnosis through rapid diagnostic tests, which contribute to a reported reduction in dengue cases across all regions last August. Stick around when we return. We Lift returns, empowering women-owned businesses in Guyana's annual expo. and construction workers sentenced to 3 years for drug trafficking.
This Mother's Day, celebrate in style and give mom the chance to win big. Simply top up with $1,000 or more for a chance to be one of 5 lucky winners of a brand new, fully stocked French door fridge with groceries worth over $550,000 each. One winner will be selected weekly from April 5th to May 9th. Start topping up today. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
See clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. We Lift, an event focused on women empowering, leading, innovating, and flourishing together, is making its grand return on April 20th and 21st. This annual event will showcase 250 women-owned businesses at the National Aquatic Center in Lilliandale on the east coast of the Marara. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindya Prasad, highlighted the expo's importance as a platform for networking and promoting goods and services for both new and established businesses and budding artists. The event is part of the ministry's efforts to support and empower women, especially those who have experienced trauma such as violence, by providing them with opportunities to become financially independent. With over 175 women-owned businesses already confirmed and 75 more spots available, women are encouraged to apply for participation.
We started in 2021 with 75 women entrepreneurs. This year we're targeting 250 of them. So far we have 175 of them. We've opened the call again for another 75, and we are going to be this week returning calls, working with women to see those who will qualify. But we want to tell women, please do not restrain yourselves. Apply. The spot is free. It costs you nothing.
The expo will feature businesses in various sectors, including arts and crafts, food, fashion, health and wellness, and more. Reflecting on the event's growth over the years, Minister Prasad emphasized the ministry's commitment to supporting women entrepreneurs and helping them to succeed. Additionally, women are encouraged to sign up for the ministry's WIN app to advance their businesses further. In other news, Kellon Adams, a 27-year-old construction worker from Annandale, East Coast Demerara, has been sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to possession of narcotics for trafficking. Adams was arrested during a routine roadblock exercise on Helena Public Road, where police observed him behaving suspiciously with a camouflage haversack in a minibus. Upon search, police discovered over 3,500 grams of suspected cannabis in the haversack. The suspected cannabis was seized and investigations were conducted. Adams appeared before Magistrate Wilson at the Mahaika Magistrates Court earlier today, where the charge was read to him and he entered a guilty plea. He will serve 3 years for the offense of drug trafficking. Don't go away after the break. Vietnam tycoon Triang My Lan sentenced to death in $12.5 billion fraud case. And the US-Japan-Philippines summit. Tensions with China expected to dominate talks.
This Mother's Day, celebrate in style and give mom the chance to win big. Simply top up with $1,000 or more for a chance to be one of 5 lucky winners of a brand new, fully stocked French door fridge with groceries worth over $550,000 each. One winner will be selected weekly from April 5th to May 9th. Start topping up today. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Cheaply with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Current smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. The Parliament of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has approved legislation enacting harsher penalties for firearm-related crimes and introducing new offenses, including firearm trafficking and 3D printing of firearms. Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who spearheaded the legislation, emphasized the public's grave concerns about gun crimes. The revised laws now impose a maximum penalty of 25,000 EC dollars, or close to 2 million Ghana dollars, and 10 years imprisonment, or both, for possession of an unlicensed firearm or forgery of any firearm permit. Gonsalves highlighted that magistrates can now impose sentences up to 10 years, aligning with penalties for drug trafficking offenses. The Prime Minister underscored the need for stringent measures to combat firearm-related crimes, emphasizing the importance of applying sentencing guidelines intelligently. Arizona's Supreme Court has ruled that a 160-year-old law that places a near-total ban on abortions may go back into effect in 14 days. Physicians are now on notice that all abortions, except those necessary to save a woman's life, are illegal. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports.
The Republicans in Arizona and elsewhere were backpedaling energetically following the state Supreme Court's abortion ruling. The Republican candidate for Senate in Arizona, Kari Lake, a favorite of Donald Trump, was all for the 160-year-old abortion law 2 years ago.
We have a great law on the books right now if that happens.
Now that it has happened, Lake says she opposes it. And so does Trump, saying the situation in Arizona would be, quote, straightened out, but boasting about his role in overturning a constitutional right to abortion.
People have wanted to end Roe v. Wade to get it back to the states. We did that. It was an incredible thing, an incredible achievement. We did that.
Actually, 59% of Americans believe abortion should be legal, according to the most recent poll. Democrats pounced on the ruling.
Republicans here in Arizona are complicit. They are complicit in this ban and in a nationwide attempt to ban access to the range of reproductive health care from contraception to abortion to IVF. They don't plan to stop until our rights are gone.
Arizona's Democratic governor called it a dark day.
I am calling on the legislature to do the right thing right now and repeal this 1864 ban and protect access to reproductive health care.
President Joe Biden also denounced the ruling, which does not make any exceptions for cases of rape and incest.
On the issue of abortion, sir, respectfully, what do you say to the people of Arizona right now who are witnessing a law go in place that dates back to the Civil War era?
Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century, not back then.
Arizona is one of the most crucial swing states in this year's election. An abortion rights referendum will likely be on the state's ballot in November, energizing Democrats in a boon for Biden. Meanwhile, women's health providers are dismayed and disconcerted. The 19th century law calls for jail terms of up to 5 years for anyone performing an abortion.
Today's ban criminalizes me from providing essential health care to these patients until their life is at risk.
The court says the law will be stayed for 14 days before it goes into effect. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
Internationally, a billionaire real estate tycoon in Vietnam has been sentenced to death for her role in masterminding the country's biggest case of financial fraud. Trong My Lan was found guilty of bribery, violating banking regulations, and embezzlement. Thousands of people fell victim to the scam. Al Jazeera's Jessica Washington reports.
On the streets of Ho Chi Minh City this week, a rare protest. Dozens of people gathered outside a branch of the Saigon Commercial Bank. Give us back our money, they chant. They are just some of the victims caught up in Vietnam's biggest financial scandal. At the People's Court of Ho Chi Minh City, billionaire real estate tycoon Trong My Lan was found guilty of embezzlement, bribery and violating bank regulations and sentenced to death. Earlier, state media had announced the court intended to give Lan the harshest possible sentence and make an example of her. The court said she paid bribes to government officials and controlled the Saigon Commercial Bank illegally through hundreds of shell companies. The court heard that Lan paid a bribe of more than $5 million to senior central bank inspectors. Lawyers for Lan can lodge an appeal. Vietnam has emerged as a global business hub and courted foreign investment, positioning itself as an alternative to China for foreign companies wanting to manufacture in Asia. But experts say cases like this can affect the willingness of corporations to do business here.
Right now, with this situation, you're having both an economic risk, market risk, and government risk at the same time, right? Because of the regulating bodies didn't regulate the banks, which allowed for Ms. Chung My Lan to do what she did.
Authorities say more than 40,000 people are victims of the scam. Nguyen Thi Ngoc Han says staff at the bank convinced her to buy corporate bonds. She didn't know these bonds were linked to shell companies owned by Lan. Now, after working in a cigarette factory and as a street vendor for decades, she says she has lost her life savings of nearly $30,000.
Rồi xong cái bắt đầu cái về nhà thì khóc một mình, khóc hoài, vô công viên ngồi cũng khóc một mình không.
When I found out, I sat in a park and cried by myself. I'll die if I can't get my money back. I put each and every penny I had in there. I just want my money back. I don't care about the verdict.
Cô không có ý kiến, cô không biết ý kiến như thế nào nữa.
She says she now lives on just $2 a day and relies on free food from temples for her meals. There will be a separate trial for the fraud case involving corporate bonds, meaning for now people like Han don't know how they will get their money back or if they ever will. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera.
Finally, on Thursday, Biden and Kushida will be joined in Washington by Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Both the Americans and Japanese support the Philippines in its territorial dispute with Beijing in the South China Sea. Al Jazeera's Barnaby Lowe reports.
Philippine and Chinese Coast Guard vessels have been regularly outmaneuvering each other in the South China Sea over the past year. More recently, the Chinese have been firing water cannon, causing damage to supply boats of the Philippine Navy and injury to crew members. Analysts say the confrontation has pushed Philippine leaders to strengthen partnerships, bilaterally and now multilaterally with the United States and Japan.
Japan and the Philippines are at the center of all the emerging geopolitical contestations in the Western Pacific. You have the East China Sea, the West Philippine Sea, and at the same time cross-strait relations.
Leaders of the three countries are set to meet in Washington on April 11th for a summit that builds on recent engagements. Last June, their coast guards held drills in the South China Sea. And in a speech to the Philippine Congress, Japan's Prime Minister announced that the Philippines would be the first beneficiary of a Japanese security assistance program.
Furthermore, we concurred with President Marcos to start formal negotiations for a reciprocal access agreement between Philippines and Japan forces.
Since then, Japan has moved further away from its long-standing pacifist policy. The Japanese cabinet recently approved the export of next-generation fighter jets. China has denounced what it calls U.S. interference in the region.
The US has travelled halfway around the world to China's doorsteps to form exclusive circles, flex muscles and make provocations. These are out-and-out hegemonic activities.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi embarked on his own charm offensive last month with a visit to New Zealand and Australia, as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken attended the Summit for Democracy in South Korea and reaffirmed U.S. defense commitment in Manila.
China has warned the Philippines against manipulation by the U.S., but President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. insists the Philippines isn't making itself a pawn. He says he's building alliances with like-minded countries to advance a shared interest for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Barnaby Lowe, Al Jazeera, Manila.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 headline news for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 5:30 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.